All right, so I'm going to talk about a realization I had. Again, it was after my awakening. Now, you have to remember, though, I read the Bible from beginning to end 13 times at this point in my life, okay? And I'd been to so many Bible studies and the book of Daniel, the book of Revelations. You know, we did like this 6-week study. Then they added a little bit from a couple other books, but I've done in-depth studies like you would not believe. So I came to a realization, and I know it's because I read from the beginning to end, because your unconscious mind kind of starts putting the pieces together and painting a picture, right? And so, as I said in the last video I did just before this one, is there's two kinds of people that read the Bible, or pretty much anything. Is people are very narrow focused, they look down a little tube and they only see one piece of the puzzle, and those people don't know how to connect the other pieces of the puzzle, so they never see the bigger picture. They only see this one piece. Like, well, this is what it says, therefore that one's wrong. But then when they're over there, well, this says this, therefore that one's wrong. Those are the divided people. They're also divided within themselves. So now, we are going to talk about what I said, when you learn how to connect every piece, every verse in the Bible together, you're going to see the bigger picture, and that paints the word love. All right? Now let's go. So here's how it started. So in the book of Genesis, it basically starts out with, well, God, and he made the earth and all that stuff, and Adam and Eve and, animals and all that stuff. He made the earth basically 7 days and he rested, or 6 days and he rested. God, I forget. God, I can't believe I said that. Okay. So, but then it goes into Adam and Eve and the serpent. And what the serpent did was played a wily trick on them, and he hurt them emotionally and got them stuck in the logical brain, and they hid from God, right? So what I do is I teach you how to open up to the right brain, which is the creative spiritual brain, the 5 senses in the present moment brain. And that's how you reconnect and open up to God. God's here. He's right here, right with you right now. God's never left you, and God's not hiding. So now, what happened? So Adam and Eve got the stung of death in their solar plexus, and their emotions got hurt, which is what the serpent's a narcissist, by the way, and that's what we call them today. So narcissists are serpents. They have demonic entities in them. So watch this. So what happened is Adam and Eve represent mankind, and a lot of people will pray, God, where are you? God's right here. You, as it says in chapter 3, and Adam and Eve knew that they were naked, and they hid from God, not the other way around. And God came in the garden. I think this is chapter 3 at this point. Yeah, chapter 3. And God called out, Adam, Eve, where art thou? And it said, and they hid, right? And then God called them again, and Adam said, well, we're hiding. And God said, why are you hiding? And he says, because we are naked and we are ashamed. So earlier it said that they knew they were naked and they were ashamed. That's the trick that the serpent did. Because before, in chapter 2, the very last verse, it says they were naked. They knew they were naked and they were not ashamed. It was only after they met with the serpent manipulated them and made them feel shame for being naked. Whereas before, they didn't even know what naked was, right? So now they hid from God. Well, that's mankind that hid from God because of shame and fear and doubt and I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And that's why mankind has always, now here we go. That's why mankind has always tried to pay their way back into heaven or back to God. We try to build statues and we try to pray and penance and some people believe, well, I have to live in poverty because if I'm poor long enough, then God will embrace me and open up to. No. You can't pay God. You can't buy God off. You can't manipulate God. You can't any of those things. God loves you. He's saying, just open up to me. I'm right here. It's like God's right here, and you're doing this. You're in your left brain. And the left brain is in the box brain. And it's about rules, structure, and organization. And you're like, well, if I just follow these rules long enough, then God will come inside my little box. No. It's a freaking door. The right brain is open to God. All you got to do is open this left brain door to your right brain, and ta-da! Now you'll be more in tune, okay? So here's what happened. When you're in the box, it is very hard. It does take faith because I'll teach you how to do it. I think with me, though, you actually will walk through the steps and be like, oh, this is cool. Like when my clients, especially men, when they open up, it's like, dude, this is so cool. I've got a video of a Benev talking about that. Okay. You know what? I'm going to try to find that clip, and I might add it after this video or in this video. I'm not sure. I got to find it. I got a lot of videos. So here's how it went. So people believe that they had to give the church a certain amount of money in order to be forgiven. Now okay, I got to add this in. It is the demonic narcissist that tricked you, making you believe and feel guilty and shameful and unworthy of God. And that's why you hid. And now they're telling you, now that you're in the rule box, now they're telling you what the rules are. Oh, you got to give 10% of your income. You have to go do penance. You have to feel ashamed. You have to, all this crappy shit that's from Satan. All right. So here's what happened. So Moses went up the mountain, and God gave him the commandments, and he had these big stone, whatever, he's carrying them down the mountain, and he found that they had made a golden calf and whatever else, and they were worshiping it, and Moses got so pissed, he threw them down the commandments and cement, stone, whatever, on the ground, and they broke. He got all pissed off, and then he went back up to God, and God's like, oh, you got to do it again. Because mankind was like, well, we have to somehow be forgiven. We have to do something to be forgiven, and then we'll open up to God. That's not the way it works. You don't have to do anything. God doesn't want you to do anything. That was the demonic narcissist trick, right? People say the devil's biggest trick is to convince people that he doesn't exist, and I will tell you, he does exist, and it scared the crap out of me. I'm not going to go into it now. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, the devil's real. He's really here, okay? So let me get back on track. That's not what this video is about. So the reason why the commandments were made in the first place are people are like, well, how do we live our lives? And it's like Jesus said, love. Love is the answer. Love is the fulfillment of all fulfills the law, right? There's two different people. There's the left brain, logical rule, structure. There's got to be rules, got to be laws, right? But you have to have an open door to the right brain for the intention of the laws. It's not about punishment. But our society is, everything's about punishment now. Every single thing from school to taxes. It's like you're getting punished for doing something good, which is what narcissists have built into our society. If you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you know that's what they do. The moment you have any kind of happiness, they punish you. They go, what's wrong with you? And they'll yell at you. They'll scream. They'll scare you. There's all kinds of tactics that they use, okay? That's why life is the way it is. But we as a world are about to pop out of this. So let me keep going here. Let's see, we're 8 minutes. Okay. So then they made the commandments, and that was supposed to be it. And they still didn't accept it. People felt like we had to do something. Okay. So in the beginning, they started off by killing, I think it was one bull a year to forgive the tribe's sins, right? What is a sin? What do you think a sin is? Nope. Not that either. There's an artery in the lower reptilian brain. When that artery is narrow, blood doesn't flow up to the right brain, the emotional, creative, spiritual, open door brain to God. So what it does is it closes you off into your left brain. When that artery is narrow, that is the sin. It's when Adam hid from God, the original sin. Now you're over here, and you got to believe all these rules. Here's rule number, and here's the funny thing about churches: every church has a different set of rules. And I mean in America, and I mean Christian churches. Like, well, which one is it?
I think the overall message I want to leave with you is the only sin is when that artery is closed from a state of fear. Sin literally means to close off from. It just means that you got afraid, you got scared or ashamed, and you hid from God. It doesn't mean you necessarily did anything wrong. Now, as Jesus said, give to Caesar what is Caesar and give to God what is God, he was talking about the difference between man-made rules versus the love of God, etc. So just because people make up rules, even if it's in the church, that does not mean you're a sinner and you're going to hell. That is a lie, and that's something that was made up by narcissists. The thing you have to be very conscious of and aware of, narcissists have overtaken the churches a long time ago. The churches, corporations, government, etc., etc. They're everywhere. And just like it says in the book of Genesis, they're like a serpent. They're very, very tricky and very, very sneaky. So what is the original sin? It is the closing of that artery, which now shoves you into your left logical brain, which is all about rules. Now, the reason why they call it the original sin is because once you lock yourself into the logical left brain, now you make up all these rules, and all of a sudden all these rules magically become sins, and you believe, well, if I just don't sin and I'm perfect and sinless and I follow all these rules to the letter of the law, then God will let me in heaven. No, that's what's blocking you from heaven. You have to open up to your right brain.
Okay? My point being is the rules change. Who's changing these rules? Okay? So once they got you into the left logical brain, narcissists will tell you what the rules are. Okay, so now, as you move forward, they killed one bull to forgive all the sins to God. So yeah, you're going to kill one of God's pets in order for him to forgive you of your sins. Oh my God. All you got to do is open that artery, and you'll open up to love. And you won't sin. You won't hurt your neighbor. You won't steal from your life. Like Jesus said to the centurion, love. Love is the fulfillment of is the fulfillment of the law. Okay? So we're going to move to that. So then it was one bull a month, one bull a week, and then it was killing chickens and turkeys. Actually, I don't remember. Turtle doves, who knows? But in the Bible, I think it was the book of Numbers, and then I forget the other book. But it was describing how the doors were so wide, gold inlaid in, and how there was all these sacrificial tables and all these priests, and they described the priest, the headdress and what they wore and how tall the tables were and how the gold was, and they even described this. I forget the name. I'm gonna call it like a gutter, because when they killed the animal, slit its throat, the blood would flow off the table and would go down this whole thing, and all of the tables would come together and would go down this gutter. And it said it flowed like a spigot, meaning a water spout that was wide open 24/7, 7 days a week, year round. They were constantly killing animals at this point for sacrifice for this, sacrifice for that, sacrifice for this, sacrifice for that. They never had to sacrifice animals before the serpent tricked them. They just hung out with God. They were hungry. They killed an animal. They ate it. They didn't feel sinful. They were horny. They had sex. And God was there. This was life. Now everything is negative. Even the negative thoughts will create illness, sickness. I remember the first time I heard that. Oh, come on! Now I work with people and I change their thoughts, and their skin rashes go away. All kinds of stuff goes away. Your thoughts create those things. So now when you're thinking the tree of knowledge brain, you're thinking all these negative thoughts because you're taught that this is wrong. Here's rule number one: rule can't break this rule. Can't. Now you're in this fucking prison and you can't get out. No matter what you do, you feel guilty, shameful, and you feel bad. That causes sickness. That'll cause you to gain weight. That'll cause you to get sick. That'll cause you to be exhausted all the time, and on and on. So as you move through, God is like, oh my God, when are they going to open up to me? Again, in the book of Genesis chapter 3, Adam and Eve hid from God. It said, and they hid because they were ashamed, because the serpent made them feel ashamed. They hid from God, not the other way around. And they're representing you too. Because I remember when I first woke up, I was like, wow, this is awesome. Life suddenly became awesome. It became great, became peaceful, and I felt good, and things were great, right? So that's the way it is when you open up to your right brain, when everything flows, all right? So God finally said, it was basically mankind was demanding the ultimate sacrifice. Remember when Pastor X said this to me? I was like, what? He goes, so God said, kill my son, my only begotten son, or first begotten son, or however it said it. So the goal of Christ being beaten and tortured was for you to finally wake the fuck up. Excuse my language, but wake up and open up from your left logical brain, the rule, about the law, the letter of the law, and this is the way it is, and being serious all the time. Life was supposed to be something that God made for us to enjoy, to live, to learn, to grow, to develop. It was never meant to be this punishing torture chamber, which is what it is now. When you open up your right brain, the pieces will fit together and it'll all make sense. You will clearly understand what Jesus meant. It becomes very evident. So as you move forward, They finally killed Jesus, and you'd think, well, everyone would finally accept God because that was the ultimate sacrifice. No, they didn't. Now they think, well, I got to get rich, or I got to be this, or I got to be a perfect. This is what happens to a lot of men, especially. They feel like they got to be perfect. They got to be perfect and sinless, and I got to walk down this narrow path. And, oh God, I can't do it. I'm going to tell you right now. And the churches say, every church I've been to said this. The Bible says it. There's no way in hell that you can earn your way to heaven. You can't buy God off. You can't pay God off. You can't build something, say, here's a gift. Can I get into heaven now? It doesn't work that way. It also says, God, what do they say in church? Damn, what's the exact phrase? You can be a perfect person, but as long as you're hiding in the box, you're not open to God. That's all you got to do. This is what I said to the church before I left. I said, the only difference between me and you is I opened my gift. God gave the same gift to all of us. It's called life. I opened it up and it said, enjoy your life. Life, I'm going to say it again, like I said in the last video. This is what God taught me. He told me, life is a gift that was meant to be enjoyed. You're here to enjoy this life. So as you go through, the centurion said to Jesus, well, I've given away all my worldly goods. I've done this, I've done that. Jesus said, love. I think he said, that's when he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul, and love each other, etc., etc. Because he literally then said, love is the fulfillment of all the commandments, or love is the fulfillment of the law. The Bible literally paints the picture of love. No matter how many animals you kill, no matter how many times you tithe, no matter how many prayers you make, no matter how many penance you do, remember that artery. What opens the artery? So the ultimate sin is when you hide from God. That's when the artery in the lower brain is narrow. Love opens that artery. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. If you want to learn how to open that artery, give me a call. Take some classes and I'll teach you how to do it. You got to practice. It takes practice. God bless you guys. See you in the next video. Peace.